Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Ray back with another very special, powerful video. And man, I just want to make a quick video because I just read a super interesting article written by the Wall Street Journal, and it kind of correlates to my previous video that I made on the potential economic collapse and rising inflation and maybe even hyperinflation right now. Not hyperinflation, we're a little bit far away from hyperinflation. But this article I just read, right, talks about how the major food retailers, think about your major grocery chains, your Walmarts, think about your Sysco's, right, which is one of the largest food distribution companies in the world, are actually beginning to implement penalties to their suppliers who are basically supplying things in an untimely fashion. Basically suppliers who are messing up orders, who are delivering orders late, you know, who are not really fulfilling whatever supplier contract they have with these guys in full capacity. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that very briefly, but before we get into this video, please be sure to like this video, comment this video, and subscribe to the channel as elite millennials who are going after their goals, seeking to be the first multi-millionaires and will be the first multi-millionaires in their family. It's a channel that you want to subscribe to because I talk all things business, all things finance, all things entrepreneurship, and all things freaking legendary. So like this video, comment on the video, subscribe to the freaking channel, and let's get right into it. Alright guys, I know I'm doing this video a little bit different today, but so like I said, I'm reading this Wall Street Journal article. It's titled Grocers, Restaurants to Suppliers, Hurry Up and Make More. And if you guys have seen my previous video, I basically talk about how we're seeing rises in prices all across the board in all of our most precious commodities, in basically everywhere across the board. We're seeing prices rise dramatically, and I talk about the reasons for that. You know, obviously the vaccination came a little bit sooner than anticipated. Companies weren't prepared for this excess demand that we're seeing, so we're really seeing a lot of inflationary pressures in today's current economic environment. And to make things worse, right, I just read this article on how there's friction between food retailers and their suppliers, right? And in particular, this article mentions Walmart and Sysco are now fining suppliers over infractions for late or incomplete orders, right? This is crazy, right? Because you could think, man, it can't get worse, right? We're seeing shortages in all major raw materials all across the board. This is putting upward pressure on prices, right? And we're dealing with this excess flux of demand. And to make matters even worse now, these major retail food retailers are now putting pressure on their suppliers and penalizing them for late or incomplete orders. And I'm just gonna rip through a little bit more of this article here. Obviously, like I said in the previous video, food makers are seeing not only raw material shortages all across the board, but we're also seeing labor shortages. A lot of major large manufacturers had to shut down some of their facilities during the the beginning of this pandemic, just to deal with the fact that what we were expecting is less demand because less people are going to be out, people are quarantined, people are going to be spending less money. But on the contrary, we came to find that demand didn't falter at all, but actually began to increase, right? So on one end, you have manufacturers who shut down plants in anticipation of demand decreasing, but we did not see that. And now that things are beginning to open back up, these manufacturers are completely backlogged, right? Backlogged orders are higher than they've ever been, and things are just really congested right now, right? Supply chains are just completely screwed in today's economic environment right now. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like, I kind of think it's messed up to see, Walmart and Sysco kind of crack down on their suppliers like this, because they understand the current times that we're in, right? They understand that we're seeing, prices rise all across the board. We're seeing shortages in raw materials, and just the supply chain is just completely messed up right now. And I think it's kind of screwed up that Walmart can step in and tell these companies, these suppliers who they do business with, that, hey, you're gonna be penalized if our orders are incomplete, right? And I'm reading a little bit further here. It says Walmart told suppliers last fall that it will require orders to be 98% full and on time, right? And if suppliers did not comply with this order, that they would be charged a 3% cost of missing item. This is crazy. So they're gonna be charged a 3% cost of missing items that come from that basically are not delivered in these orders, and that if these orders are not on time, they're going to be charged for that as well. And I just think that's going to put more pressure on these suppliers, and it's just gonna, at the end of the day, impact the end consumer, right? Because not only are we dealing with excess demand and lack of supply that's putting upward pressure on prices and causing prices to rise, but now we have these major food retailers, you know, penalizing their suppliers for the current circumstances that we're in, which is ultimately just going to have to cause the supplier to raise prices at the end, which is going to impact who? It's going to impact us, the end consumer, because we're going to have to end up paying higher prices on these goods. Walmart makes a statement saying we must improve product availability, and I agree with that. You know, I do agree. You know, Walmart has a job, and that's to make sure that food is on their shelves. But at the same time, I think you kind of have to be aware of the circumstances and maybe, you know, forego that penalty. And you know, I'm reading on in this article, and it says, so apparently these fees from retailers is actually a common theme. It's something that happens. It's something that's common in the relationship between suppliers and food retailers. But you know, it states that the raising costs for suppliers on top of higher prices for fuel, right? Higher prices for transport and labor and raw materials. I mean, this is only going to make matters worse, I imagine, right? And look, I'm not saying that we're headed towards hyperinflation. I was doing some research on hyperinflation, and hyperinflation is, I think it's super uncommon. Number one, hyperinflation happens when you're seeing 1,000% increases in prices, right, on a month-to-month basis. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. We're obviously not getting there. We're probably not gonna get there. I think one of the only times that happened in history was after World War I, and it happened in Germany. So we're definitely not, you know, I don't think we're gonna see any hyperinflation, but it's crazy, man, because we're just in crazy, crazy time. Reading on, so there's this pizza parlor they talk about, Wise Pies. I'm not familiar. If you guys are familiar with Wise Pies, maybe, you know, say something in the comments. Maybe I'll have to try that out. Wise Pies says that they're paying as much as $4,000 to ship a load of pizzas, compared to around $1,800 in August, okay, of last year. That's a huge increase, right? That's more than a 100% increase in prices, man. So that's ridiculous, bro. And that's what these companies are dealing with right now. And you know, I think honestly, I think that these major food retailers like your Walmart or your Sysco's, there should be some type of union, that a union with the suppliers, where they, you know, make a deal and say, hey, can you guys continue to forego these penalties for suppliers who are late? Because we're dealing with unprecedented times right now. We're dealing with major supply shortages. We're dealing with major labor shortages, and these are all gonna put, you know, cost push inflation. This is gonna cause cost push inflation, because our production costs are out the roof right now. And if you tack on an additional penalty for us being late and us, you know, not fulfilling these supply contracts, you know, 100%, I think that that's only going to impact upward price, you know, moving forward. So, you know, I want to make a quick video on this. I'm curious what you guys think about it. This is obviously interesting times, man. I had no idea that these food retailers had penalties in place for their suppliers that they work with. And it even talks about in this article how some of these major food retailers are literally ending contracts with suppliers that they've had long-standing relationships with for long periods of time, to work with suppliers who can actually help them fulfill their demand needs. And I think that's crazy, man. And I'm super curious to see what are the long-term implications of this. But man, we're in some super interesting times. But there you guys have it, man. I wanted to drop this quick video. I know it was kind of a little bit scrambled, but I just found this super interesting. I know this is a little bit different from how I do my other videos, but more of this type of content coming to you guys. But there you guys have it. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, but leave me, keep hustling, keep working, and your boy Robert. Peace.